Hey everyone, it's Sean and welcome to Invest with Fire. You know, I'm sure you're seeing a bunch of GameStop videos out there, but I just wanted to put out this video just to talk about why I think GameStop is still worth a buy, even though the share price has increased significantly. At this time, it is January 28th. It's about 2 a.m. on the West Coast, and the share prices are at $324 and has decreased by -6%. And even though the share price has really increased, I still think GameStop is still worth a buy. The first reason why I think GameStop is still worth a buy is that the short interest percent of float is still at 140% based on January 27th, 2021. And what this basically means is that this tells you the quantity of shares that have been sold as a percentage of the available shares available on the market. There can only be 100% of shares on the market, and now there's 140%. How is this even possible? It's possible because hedge funds that bet that the stock will go down, they over leveraged themselves. They basically bought the stock at a certain price and then they immediately sold it. And they were hoping that the price would go down so that they could buy the stock at the new low price. And what these hedge funds also did is that they did a naked short, where they didn't actually buy the shares from another hedge fund. Now they really don't have these shares. And that's why you see the short interest percent of float at 140%. Incredible, incredible. So this is a very rare opportunity because these hedge funds, they made a mistake, okay? And they have always been manipulating the market, right? And they always treat retail investors like us as dumb money, right? We're not smart enough, we don't have the tools to actually understand the market, and we don't know what's going on. Well, with the age of the internet and a community like Wall Street Bets, retail investors are getting smarter and smarter, and they're able to catch these things, right? And basically these hedge funds made a mistake. And now Wall Street Bets is capitalizing it. Now you may say, oh, well, isn't that bad for these hedge funds? I mean, don't we feel bad for them? They made a mistake. The thing is that no, we shouldn't feel bad for these hedge funds because this is the game they play and this is the game they've always played. And they do this all the time to suck money, to take away money from retail investors and put it in their pockets and make a lot of money. I mean, just think of 2008. In the housing crisis, right? They over leveraged themselves and they basically crashed the stock market. And who was there to bail them out? It was basically us, right? We bailed them out because they were too big to fail. So now this time, this is our chance to capitalize on this. And this is for the small retail investor. And that kind of ties in with my second point, is that this is our chance to stand up to these hedge funds, because they have the audacity to short this stock and over leverage themselves. Because these hedge funds have no other choice other than to buy the stock to cover their short position. I don't want to confuse shorting with buying an option, because this shorting that these hedge funds are doing, there's no expiration date. You know, there's actually really no kind of, from what I know, there's no actual contracts. How these shorts work is that they kind of just call these other hedge funds and ask them, hey, you know, can we borrow the stock and we'll give you interest on this, okay? We're just gonna borrow the stock. And what they do is they get the stock and then they sell the stock and they wait for the price to go down and they could buy the stock at a lower price. And so they basically made that difference right there, right? And then they return the stock to the hedge fund that they borrowed it from. So all these hedge funds, they messed up. And this is Wall Street Bets and a retail investor's chance to stand up to these hedge funds. That's why I still think that this is more about the message versus actually making money. The third reason is that I still think there's a good risk to reward ratio. Even though the price still is around $300, this stock can go to $1,000. And especially with the short open interest at 140%, these hedge funds, they still need to buy the shares to cover their positions, right? And when they buy the shares, that's going to increase the price of the stock even more. And they're going to have to keep buying and buying to cover their positions. And this is why I think there's a really good risk to reward. So, you know, this is not financial advice. You know, this is not investing advice or anything. This is just what I'm thinking out loud. And I think I'm gonna buy a couple shares just to send them a message. You can't really mess with a retail investor anymore, right? With the age of the internet and all the powers and tools that we have and the power of a community, we can catch these Wall Street hedge funds and stick it to them. And this is why I still think GameStop is still a stock that's worth buying.